Hey all, it's John Bellamy here, and welcome to our cyber threat intelligence update on behalf of DarkXposed. I'm really looking forward to today, and I'm really looking forward to sharing a whole bunch of information with you. In fact, we will be covering some of the latest statistics and news when it comes to cyber threat intelligence, how hackers will access your data right now, followed by sharing some live exposure information with you, talking about what is your data worth, and we've got a great little exercise for you to complete there, before finally sharing how you can go about protecting yourself and looking at ways to be safer online. Now, before we get into it, you really need to understand that hackers no longer break in. They literally no longer break in. In fact, they just simply log in, and this will become relevant as we go through today's presentation. Furthermore, you need to understand that the sad reality is that more than 90% of cyber attacks are made possible by human error. That's exactly right. It's human error, and specifically that means you, it means me, it means my team, your team, every human on the planet. So we need to be aware of the outcomes of every little click and how we are protecting ourselves online from that perspective. So before we jump in and start sharing some of these news, what I think it's really important to understand is what's the difference. And what I mean by what's the difference, I mean the difference between cybersecurity versus cyber intelligence, because believe it or not, you actually need to be investing as a business owner and as an individual who may have some investments out there. You need to be investing in both of these solutions. So number one, when it comes to cybersecurity, what you need to understand is that cybersecurity protects your internal perimeter. So what we mean by that is when it comes to the internal workings of your business, your systems, etc. It's typically more of a reactive approach to a specific threat that has been identified. And like I mentioned, it helps you protect your data. So if you think about your database in your business, helps you protect those systems. So it might be CRMs or internal systems that you might be using, Google, Microsoft, whatever that might be looking there. Softwares that you could be potentially utilizing or through suppliers that you access, as well as the networks that you might be running in your business. Whereas on the other hand, cyber intelligence, it monitors your external perimeter. Okay, so we're looking externally outside of your business, outside of that ecosystem for threats that come through. And because we're looking at the external perimeter, we're taking more of a proactive approach, looking for potential and future threats. Okay, so before I go on here, what I want you to think about here, and probably the simplest way to consider this or consider thinking about this, is if we look at organizations such as the FBI versus the CIA as an example. So the FBI would be classified more as like a cybersecurity aspect, or that would be likened to, I should say, to more cybersecurity, because it's looking at protecting that internal perimeter of the United States, for example. Whereas the CIA, for example, whilst it's still looking to protect the United States, it's monitoring for external threats. So it's monitoring that external perimeter for threats that aren't active internally yet, but they're potentially coming in. So when it comes to that cyber intelligence, this is where we're really focused on early detection. Okay, because right now early detection is actually your best prevention to a cyber attack. And because we're focusing on that early detection, what we're specifically looking for there is things like credential breaches, supplier threats, brand reputation risk, and team member exposure. So there's the two differences in case you're unaware. Now, like I said, both of them are extremely important, and in fact, we believe that all of you are probably utilizing, and if you're not, you should have best practice cybersecurity solutions in place right now, and then you leverage the cyber intelligence to help support that. All right, so moving into some of the latest news, what you need to understand is Australia ranks the 4th highest across the globe in current cybercrime per capita. So closely just falling behind the UK, the US, Canada is yours truly, us in Australia there. So you can see that we've had 8% year-on-year increase with when it comes to cybercrime here in Australia, and it continues to grow. Furthermore, right now there's over 24 billion compromised user credentials circulating on the dark web, and you can see that researchers have listed things such as malware, phishing, social engineering as common methods for stealing those credentials. Moving along, cyber criminals sell access to companies via the dark web from around about $2,000. Okay, once again, depending on the size and the quality of that data, it may be as little as a couple of $1,000s right up to hundreds of thousands of dollars from there. And it's a currency, that cyber criminals love to operate and play in. And you can see here that over 200 posts on the dark web offering to buy information for initial access to companies. Okay, so this is something that continues to grow and grow and grow. It's a currency. It is a business that they operate in, and we need to understand that, particularly here in Australia. A lot of us have got our heads in the sand when it comes to cyber threats, and we need to be on top of that, which brings us back to that original point with more than 90% of cyber attacks made possible by, guess what, you, me, and our team, by human error. So the data is clear. It's clear. It is out there. Cyber criminals have taken advantage of the pandemic in many ways, particularly with more people working from home and leveraging things such as the bring your own device. Unfortunately, a lot of security practices, as well as education and training of your team, has gone to the wayside, particularly in that small business market. We see that quite growing rapidly. So let's move through to how hackers actually access your data. This is one of those ones. You may be familiar with some of these things, but one of the most common ways is via what we call a three-step trusted email approach. And this is how they go and target whether you're an individual or a business. They will use this three-step approach all the way. So I want you to think about this. Receiving a trusted email from a team member in your team. It might be a trusted email from a customer, so somebody on your database, or even a trusted email from a supplier, so a bit of technology that you might be utilizing out there in the marketplace. So we get all of these emails coming into our inbox every day, and those little ones with the X that you can see there, they're the little ones that are the dodgy ones. The little ones that they look really nice and you might not even be aware of, and you or a team member actually go and click on it, and voila, your business is exposed. Okay, and now that your business is compromised, it might not be hacked or anything like that. It might not get a ransom yet or anything, but your business is now compromised. There's some exposure onto the dark web. Cyber criminals now have control. Okay, and before they even send a ransom, if they ever do one, they go and copy that database, and that database is one of the things that they will go and leverage and sell on the dark web, and the list goes on. And what's really important to understand, and this is why the government's cracking down and doesn't want businesses to pay ransoms, is that the hackers will actually set up backdoor entries, in fact multiple backdoor entries, so that even if you were to pay a ransom and you got your details back, they can just go back in there and do it again and again and again. So what's really important here to understand is that now that your business is compromised, they have access to that database, access to the number of things there. They can go and then send trusted emails to all of your clients, all of your suppliers, etc. from you, and the cycle begins again. So this is really where we all need to get really focused and understand this area here. This is the big aspect of cyber criminals coming in and being quite lucrative. So let's just share a couple of examples. Let's share this email from Sam here. Hey Sam, can I get your input on this please? We're making a couple of changes to the website and I'd love your opinion. You can see the changes here. Thanks, Philip. Now, if that was an email from a team member, what are the chances, and be honest with yourself, what are the chances of you or a member of your team clicking on that? You can see the changes here. They're pretty high, right? So you want to be thinking about this, and this is where the criminals are becoming quite quite smart. They'll actually sit in the back of your systems and look and understand the language and the language of individual team members and how they write emails before they go and do anything. Here's another email here. So this could be from a customer or from a supplier. Hey, I trust you're having a great week. I've uploaded a couple of documents to a shared folder. I tried to email them, but they were way too large to email. Can you please download and save these? They might be relevant to my case. Shared folder here. Thanks, Max. So this one here could be an email simply like think about the communication, and I'll pick on an accountant and a bookkeeper here. A lot of us may actually send correspondence to accountants and bookkeepers and things along those natures, or be on the receiving end of correspondence from accountants and bookkeepers. And once again, the majority of us would probably actually go and click that email unknowingly, knowing that it might have some, spyware, whatever it might be, on the back of that email. And finally, this one here, this is like as a supplier sending it to you. It's like, hey Bill, trust you're having a great week. I'd love to share our latest product catalog with you. We've got a number of promotional materials that can help your law firm stand out. So we've even tailored the message to that specific business as an example, or industry. You can view all the products and options on our new products page on our website. Okay, cool. Click there, bang, and away we go. Thanks, Alice. So you've got to understand the level of detail these cyber criminals will go to impersonate and to be as quality as they can from an impersonation perspective, to increase the likelihood of you, me, your team members clicking on these links. So as we continue on, what I want you to think about is, okay, well, what does this mean? What does exposure mean? Where does credentials and all that come in with it? And what I wanted to share with you was a couple of examples of some live exposure. So I'm not going to go in and share the actual data because that would be cruel. I'm not even going to share who the companies were, but I wanted to give you a couple of different industries and to give you an idea around some of the credentials. So as of this morning, one quite large and well-known bookkeeping platform, we're not going to mention who it was, but we all probably use it, has over 1,000 plus exposed company credentials on there. So once again, what I am not saying is I'm not saying that they have been hacked. I'm not saying that they have been ransomed or anything along those lines. What we are saying is that there are credentials, and I'll share more about those credentials, that the hackers have been able to source off the back of this platform that are now up for sale on the dark web. A social media company has recently had around 953 of their internal teams' credentials exposed. Another crypto exchange, a lot of us, and this will increase massively as the user adoption continues to increase, had 62 of their team members' credentials exposed and up for sale on the dark web. Graphic designer, so local graphic design firm here in Brisbane, 45 of their team members' user credentials up there. An accountant had 24, followed by a law firm that had 63. So why is this all important, and what do we mean by these credentials? So number one, this is all important because this information is your information. And think of it this way, once again, whether it's your business being exposed or a supplier that you spend money with being exposed, either way it can impact you from that perspective. So let's talk about this fools list, and this is the credentials. This is what the data that these hackers are grabbing. So you can see here that they're getting a myriad of information. And this is just a few of the lines of data they would look for. Things such as email addresses, passwords, first name, last name, date of birth, credit card information. All of this has a value, and it's a currency within the dark web and how they utilize. And this is where, like I said, they might not have exposed you or ransomed you as yet, but they're selling this information and trading this information online. So it's quite valuable, okay? And chances are your data is there. Your data is being traded. Now, why is this important? Because if we can identify this and share this information with you ahead of time, you can potentially reduce the risk of something like this happening, right? So this is, you log into your computer one day at work and all of a sudden it's like your computer has been infected. Guess what? We have got control of everything right now. And, you can pay us some money to get it back. In fact, if you pay us $44,999 before the 6 days are up, well, you can have it for that. But if you pay a little bit later, well, it's going to go up to $90,000 US from that aspect. And by the way, we're going to make it super easy, and we're going to give you the clear instructions on how you can actually pay this ransom to us. And if you're really still unsure about it, that's okay as well. You can just go and jump on chat support. Okay, so this is how crazy it's getting, and this is what we're ultimately trying to mitigate when it comes to your cyber risk and your business risk from that aspect. So moving along, what is your data worth? This is the $1,000,000 question, right? So here's a little bit of an example here. So from things that are sold on the dark web, credit card details with pins might be looking at $25 a record, bank details around $40, Netflix subscriptions around $1, email or Gmail credentials like from $80. So that's quite important to understand. And as I mentioned earlier, customer databases and credentials, go in the thousands to 10,000s, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars from that aspect. So what does this mean to you? Well, really what I want to do here is let's actually go and complete an exercise. So I want you to get a piece of paper or pen out, and I want you to just draw 3 columns and just have email address, where is it utilized, and what value do you place on it. And then what I want you to start looking at is going, all right, listing out all your email addresses. You might only have one, you might have 5, 10, whatever it might be. List them all out. And then next to each email address that you have, I want you to go and list out where that email address specifically is utilized. Like, is it on Facebook, for social? And do I have one that's for all my work and bank accounts? If I'm into crypto, do I have one for crypto? Do I have one for rewards cards? Maybe you literally have 1 or 2 email addresses that covers all of that there. And then finally, what I want you to understand and I want you to go and do is put the value that you place on that email address. Okay, so your social media one, maybe you're not a big social media person, but you know what, if my social media got hacked and that email got done, well, it's probably going to cost me $1,000 in time, and it's going to be really annoying. If my business got hacked and invoices were sent out and my work details got compromised and all of that, maybe it could be worth $1 million or more to you. If you're into crypto and you love crypto and you use it as an investment vehicle, you might determine that to be priceless. And your rewards cards, like your Woolworths card or something like that, maybe you just go, hey, you know what, it's worth $500, no big deal. But you want to be thinking about these things, because once again, I can't tell you what it's going to be worth. You've got to put your value on that. So do this exercise. It's a really important exercise, because this is going to determine ultimately where your investment and your focus should be. Now, without a doubt, you should be utilizing cybersecurity as well as cyber intelligence. But most importantly, like I said, what value do you place on your data? Because this is the most important thing here. So once you've got that number, what I wanted to share with you and give you that idea is how you can then go and protect yourself online. So in today's presentation, we spoke about, investing in cyber intelligence solutions, and ultimately the idea behind this is to help support your existing cybersecurity methods, because it's absolutely critical. If you're an individual, if you're a small business, and even like all of us, we're investors, we need to make sure that we're covering and maximizing the opportunity, or maximizing the protection that we have in order to mitigate and reduce the risk of any cybercrime happening. So you need to understand that cybercrime is a constant danger to individuals and businesses of any size from any industry. It doesn't matter if you are the local cafe down the road or if you're running a multinational company. Hackers don't care. They look for that information because your credentials are a currency to them. So you really need to be aware of that. Second thing is that you need to understand that cyber intelligence should be included in your business and investment strategy, right? It is there to support and add that additional layer of protection when it comes to your overall cyber your cyber intelligence, your cyber security solutions internally. And finally, you need to understand that a single credential breach, no matter the size of your business, can cause a multitude of cyber attacks, which ultimately cost you millions. So I trust you found this presentation of value. What you need to understand is that my team and I at DarkXposed, we help protect your most important assets, being your brand, your team, your customers, and of course your cash flow. And this is all with early detection of cyber threats. So if you would like to take us up on this offer today, well, I highly encourage you to do this. What we want to find out is provide you with a report and provide you with some information to see if your credentials are up for sale on the dark web right now. All you need to do to claim your complimentary report is to go to darkexposed.com or to scan the little QR code there today, and our team will go and create a report, organise a call with you and share all that information with you. Guys, it's John Bellamy here. I trust you found this information of value, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.